CTM stock is trading right now at valuations that were expected to be hitting around this time. And we saw some strong action in the live trading this morning. Data centers were moving quite aggressively. If you guys ever want to tune on into our live sessions, we have them every day at Monday through Friday market open sessions. They're the second link in the description. We're already up 267% on Rigetti stock. But since Quantum was pulling back today, we opened up a short on Rigetti. We're up about 280 right now. But let's take a look at CTM. That's what we're focused on today. They're in the AI market. So when you think of AI, you might think of robots and data centers. You might even think of quantum computing technology, or maybe you're just thinking of ChatGPT or things like that. But did you know that the top AI momentum that we're seeing in all of the markets is actually in the defense market? We've seen that in Palantir as one of the top growth stocks this year as AI makes their way into defense. We've seen Big Bear AI, another defense stock, get a lot of momentum this year as well. Even some of the primarily aerial or space tech companies that have some AI driven analytics have seen growth this year. CTM stock, though, is up 10% today. You can see that they're up to $1.10. Now, we've been covering the stock for a while. I do have some long-term positions over in the Schwab portfolio. But when we're talking about what we've been watching with this company, there's been some trades. I remember we were at a cafe. We flew out to Florida. I think it was Miami for a couple weeks. And I remember we were there for a minute. And when we arrived, we were at a cafe in the morning in our daily live trading session for Stockmates. And we traded, I think it was back here, June, when CTM surged up to $1.46 from $1 a share. And that was a big move we were able to catch. And then, of course, we've seen that's from 98 cents up to $1.50. There's been numerous times where it's bounced this $1 a share price point and then jumped back up to about $1.25. And so when we're looking at CTM stock, there's a few reasons why we've been covering it so closely. And the main reason is because of the discipline around their financials. They're kind of software, cybersecurity, and AI tech for the US government. There's not a lot of hype around this stock. They did just have a deal that delivers annual positive earnings impact of 30 million. Okay, you got CTM stock is up 9% today, but there hasn't been any hype around this stock. That's very rare that you see any news articles about it because frankly, there's a small market cap. So there is caution. You got to have $100 million here. They're based out of Virginia. And you can see their quarterly revenue has been around $11 million per quarter, right? So they just jumped up to 14 million in the last quarter, and then net income just negative 322K. Annually, you could see this steady $100 million company that's holding around 50 million a year, and then into 2025, right now they're on track to potentially surpass that. So with their balance sheet where it is, their revenue's up 21% year over year. Net income is up 82%, so they're becoming more efficient. And their balance sheet looks good, right? Their balance sheet indicates that their assets have been surging up 47% the last year, while their liabilities have been going down. So basically their debt going down, their assets, the amount of cash and liquidable assets they have are up to $43 million. So you can see that decline in the liabilities in the orange, an increase in the blue. So what does that mean? It's all good to see the financials, but what about the actual value to the marketplace? Are they seeing growth? Are they seeing more? Well, they got a really simple website. It's not fancy. It's not very beautiful. In fact, it's kind of a boring website. It's very like, here's the news, and you can see their news, but nothing crazy. Where it started is they got access to IDIQ contracts that put them on demand for the US government. Then shortly after, they became Small Business Administration. They got an onboard there to learn how to get more contracts. And then shortly after that, into January of 2025, they got a $3.2 million deal. And then they also got a $103 million deal into February. So there was an article we just saw here where they were saying Castellum Inc. has annual positive earnings and impact of 30 million. So we'll have to see what that looks like. I don't see any big news, and I don't usually use third-party sources. We're going direct to the source here for integrity sake. But simply what you need to know is they have these $100 million deals. Looks like they've got around over $100 million in revenue projected for the next year or two. And we saw that reflect in the recent earnings as they were up there. And then you got the market cap's only at 100 million, which indicates growth. So then we go from the financials, the news, and we see this level that they're at. They're looking to increase. We were looking for a 22% increase up to about $1.15 from that 90-cent price point. They have recovered about 19% of that 25%. So 19% recovery. They're up about 8 to 10% here after hours and continuing to grow. Now, just to disclose once again, I have long-term positions, I think since about 80 cents a share in the Schwab portfolio that we got into really early on this year. I think it was, let's see where we were. It was right around February. And then we've seen them hold this support level around 87 cents recently. They bounced at 89 and they're targeting now $1.15. Now, what we're looking at though overall is to see them get back up into these types of levels, 132 or $1.50. That would be more on track with what their financials are indicating, or even seeing them get back up into this level around $2 or more. With other companies that are doing way less than Castellum Inc. is doing financially, as they got some Navy contracts and contracts in cybersecurity, and their revenue is doing much better and actually positive, which can withstand almost any market conditions. It's looking like their actual valuation should be somewhere up in this $1.50 range. So that's a 66% increase from the recent levels we were watching from, about a 55% increase from current levels. So looks like they're targeting $1.50, 50-cent margin for profit. And if they can continue to hold that trend that they recently started to develop, we're going to see this next level of resistance here at about $1.15, acting as that next level. So kind of watching there is the next level to watch here. So we're going to watch it closely, see if there's any opportunities that present themselves at market open. As I mentioned, we trade live at market open Monday through Friday. If you'd like to join us there in StockMate, it's the second link in the description down below to tune on in as soon as tomorrow. It is pretty early in the morning, but if you'd like to get up and join us there, it depends where you're at, I guess. But on the West Coast, pretty early, right at market open. But we're there and would love to see you there as well if you want to see our entries and our exits and surround yourself with other investors. We got some exciting earnings too later this week to watch. What we're seeing is we got Verizon reporting tomorrow. You had PayPal come in good today with some earnings. And then SoFi came in with some earnings and did not so bad. And then tomorrow we got Microsoft and Alphabet and Meta tomorrow. We're going to be watching very closely this week again on those earnings. We got some targets as well for all the companies over in StockMate. If you want those, you can always go grab them inside of StockMate or send me a message. Appreciate you all. I hope you have a good rest of your day. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing. And let me know your thoughts below on CTM down below in the comment section. Would love to know what you think about it and what your thoughts are on the company. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.